Hey. Here we are. It's another week of the RecPoker podcast. Hope everyone's having a fantastic time. I'm excited to be here. It is episode 659. This is our weekly chats edition of the podcast. But we also have a weekly forums edition. It's all about poker strategy. I'm Jim Reid, your host for both. I go by Bluffsterini in the home game and RecPoker Jim on socials. And I've got the best freaking job in the world talking poker with my friends every Monday night on the RecPoker podcast at 7:30 Eastern, live on YouTube. Join us for free and you can win a week just for showing up every week. Now, we're going to be talking to the one and only Paul O Reilly from the Irish Poker Open in just a moment. But first, I am proud to share that we are brought to you by Running Aces. They are the official sponsor of the RecPoker podcast. And most of what we do here is free. And all it takes to join our community is an email address and a smile, although we do insist on both. And since we're largely a volunteer-based organization, we really depend on support from our sponsors and from our premium members who take part in our advanced training materials and studying opportunities for only $22 a month. So come give us a try, and you can always get your first month of premium for only $5 by using the code RecPoker at checkout. And I just want to remind everyone, we love supporting local food banks around here. So if $5 feels like a lot of money, you can make a donation of any amount to a food bank in your own community. Send us the receipt, and we'll send you your first month of premium membership at RecPoker for free, just for helping out some folks that need it. Now, you get used to hearing my voice. They let me host the show on Mondays, but I'm only one man. It takes a group, a gang, a village, a crew to make all the magic happen around here. We call our leadership panel the RECing Crew. And if you want to learn more about me or the rest of the RECing Crew, you can go to rec.poker/crew. But you can just listen up as well, because we're going to be talking to a full house of panelists tonight. We've got Kim Kilroy, Chris Jones, Rob Washam, John Somsky, Lorianne Persinger, and of course our invisible producer, Rob Gardner, in the booth. Tonight we're going to start with Lorianne. Lorianne, you were playing in some kind of poker league this weekend. Do tell us more about that.
Yes, for the second year, I am a member of the Binksters Poker League. It's a 20-member league where we play the third Saturday of every month at Resorts World, where, of course, the first person, they give away 12 seats, but the top winner gets a main event seat. Last year, I was fortunate enough to get two $500 seats, but this year, I'm kind of in the basement, trying to move out of the basement. I'm currently sitting 17th out of 20th, but I did place third on Saturday, so that did help a little bit. Anyone else here play in leagues or have any league experience they can pass on?
Well, I play in a local league. It's just, and Jim's played in it once. I've been playing in it for about 7 or 8 years, and I've won my main event seat 3 times. So pretty exciting.
Amazing.
Three times?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Kim asked me to join invited me to join a few years ago, and I did. I played in it once. Really fun group, some really good players in there too. But I managed to sneak my own main event seat the first time I played the main.
You should never have invited him.
Right. That'll teach you.
I give it in scoops.
That's what you get.
Yeah, back in 2018, I got invited to one of those leagues. In my first year, I also won a main event seat, which was very, very cool. I played again in 2019. Then the pandemic hit, and it kind of dissolved. And then I moved to Arizona, so I'm not doing it anymore. But I did win one seat, which was very, very cool.
One of the things that was one of the cool things about the one that Kim invited me to was that some of the players would win seats and go on, but it was like an equity sharing package where everyone else who was in the league would retain a portion of the equity. So if you went deep, then it's a good situation, because it's like the cream rises to the top. The better players go on to represent the pool in the event and share some of the winnings. Is that what this one's like with you as well,
That's
Lorianne?
Exactly what this one is like. So right now, I'm not the cream. I'm at the, unfortunately, like I said, I got some bladdering up to do, but that's exactly, it is an equity share Binkster Poker League, which is really, really nice. So it's almost like a win-win.
Yeah, and I guess it's just really different from like a satellite or something that other players may play to win into, where you own, all of yourself. But I do like this way of kind of sharing it with the rest of the group. That's
and thankfully,
cool.
Like I said, 12 get seats. So there's a bunch of us that are kind of grouped together. So we've got 4 more. So I'm not out of it yet. So still got.
So that must be a big group to give away that many seats. How many?
20 members. 20 members.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good for you. That's exciting. Now you're our actual resident Las Vegas, person in situ. You're the beat reporter down there in Las Vegas. So
Oh, am I? Okay.
I think so. I think so. You've earned that by now.
Okay.
So we were going to talk about some fun things to do while you're there. Why don't you take off your new segment here with us, Lorianne?
Okay. Well, thank you for that segue. Yes. For the first segment of what we're calling LA and LV, the first thing I want to concentrate on is if someone's here on what I refer to as a poker trip, is here for 3 to 4 days, and they want to take a break from the tables, or maybe they played a tournament and they bag for day 2 and they have a day off, and they want to do something fun, non-poker that's budget friendly, but close to the strip, close proximity to the strip. I have a few suggestions for you, and these are things that are unique to Las Vegas. They're easily, like I said, you can get there whether you're walking, driving, taking rideshare, or public transportation. So let's get started. The first one on the list, and it is definitely what I would consider the most budget friendly on the list because it is free, but it is one of my all-time favorite free things to do in Las Vegas, and that is the Bellagio Conservatory and Botanical Gardens. And it's shaking heads. Everybody knows, like I said, it is one of my free things. And I am always impressed by what their horticulturalists, hey, I said that right the first time, are able to do with flowers and displays, which they change those displays 5 times a year. Each one is seasonal. And the 5th one is changed for the Lunar New Year, which they just changed on January the 11th. And this year's theme is the Year of the Snake. Second on the list is the Pinball Museum and Pinball Hall of Fame. Hey, Chris is here. I love that. And if he knows,
my favorite place in Vegas.
Then there we go. See, I'm naming places people know. It's actually, are you familiar? Right. It's been in Las Vegas since the 90s, and its original location was on East Tropicana. But since April 2021, it has been at a much better location on the South Strip between Mandalay Bay and the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. It's on the north side. A lot of people know the Harley Davidson store that's right there. But absolutely, they have, in addition to a great collection of pinball machines, which, by the way, includes a WPT, a World Poker Tour pinball machine, which I've actually played. They also have a lot of old school arcade games. And admission is free, another great value. And most of the games to play cost 25 to 50 cents to play. So in the short, this makes this a fun, nostalgic, and impressive or inexpensive way to spend a couple of hours. Third on that list is the Mob Museum. Now, this one is located in downtown Las Vegas. Again, I loved it. Familiar with this. So if anything to add later, please. But it's downtown Las Vegas, and this is any and all things mob. Now, I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but I will tell you the museum itself is great. Absolutely loved. I've been there several times. And for this one, the general admission for that one runs at $34.95, and it goes up to $56.95. But that second price includes 2 interactive experiences, which they offer 3. And I had to check my notes. There's a crime lab. There's a firearm training simulator, and there's also a distillery tasting because they happen to have an on-site speakeasy. They offer discounts for Nevada residents, students, military, and law enforcement. But if you don't qualify for one of those discounts and are willing to get there before 11 a.m. or after 5 p.m., you can take advantage of a $7 discount. They do have a small adjacent parking lot where they charge $8 for 4 hours of parking. And last on the list, I'm not sure if anyone has done this one, but this is Fly Over Las Vegas. And this is an immersive flight simulator experience is what they bill it as. But if someone has done it, I will say it's an incredibly realistic flight simulator. And because it not only includes the seats moving in the motion, it also includes scents, wind, and mist sprays. There's a experience we did where we went through a waterfall and actually got splashed in the face by water. So, I mean, it's outstanding. But I will say, as someone who's afraid of heights, it's so realistic. I did leave fingernail prints in the grip. So if you suffer from motion sickness or heights, it might be a bit much for you. And the price for that, when the pricing starts at $39, and they do have a website, and I recommend the website because if you buy online, you save $3. But they also allow you to do like double experiences where you then save 30% if you do combine two experiences together. And for an additional $11, you can add a drink to your experiences. I mean, because they have an on-site bar. This is Las Vegas. So, and the current four experiences they're offering right now, there is the Canadian Rockies, fly over Chicago, the American West, and the one that we did, which was Legendary Iceland. And it was just, to say it was visually spectacular is an understatement. Absolutely loved it. So in closing and on a final note, I would just like to say that with a little bit of planning and good logistics, the good thing about the four that I mentioned is that you can do all of these in one day. And it would actually end up costing you about the same as a tournament or a cash buy-in, and sometimes actually even less if you did all four of those. So there you have it for this segment of LA and LV.
I love it. Lorianne Persinger, LA in LV. This is so much fun. I think it's exactly the kind of thing that we're going to get to enjoy more and more over the next little while. I'm so glad that we've got you and our embedded agent on the strip there to report back.
Undercover spy.
There's some great stuff. I saw Chris Jones was like flipping on every single one of those.
Every trip I've made to Vegas, I have made a trek to the Pinball Hall of Fame. Back in its old location, new location. It's awesome. It's so
a blast. It really is. It's a blast.
Anyone else have sort of like some favorite while you're down there, maybe on a shoestring budget? Rob Watcham, I think actually, and I were at Fremont together. Rob, did you make it up there with Roger Schutte and I when Bronwyn was down in town that time?
Oh yeah,
watched the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yep, we saw Bare Naked Ladies live for free in downtown Las Vegas. That was a very cool venue. Yeah, that was kind of right in the pandemic area still. So it was kind of a we're just starting to get out of it, I think. And it was a lot of fun.
I assume you're talking about the band playing on the stage, not like the performers around in.
No, from what I understand,
well, there's a little bit of both down there. But yes, it was the Canadian band Bare Naked Ladies.
That's great. Thank you for clarifying. Some of our less cultured folks might not know what I'm talking about, but yes, we were down there watching the Bare Naked Ladies, the Canadian rock band. Yes,
I would just like to congratulate everybody that had Rob Washam saying Bare Naked Ladies on their bingo card for scratching that off there tonight.
And a big shout out. No, please, I was going to say a big shout out to Roger Schutte, who was down with us that night. Roger is an integral part of what we do here at RecPoker. He touches all the podcasts, every podcast that we do. He helps us optimize and add some cool features to it in post-production. So Roger, always going to remember that evening fondly. It was great to hang out with you and hope to see you again soon. Sorry, Lorianne, you were saying about that as well.
No, I was just adding that when you say Bare Naked Ladies in Fremont Street, you do have to clarify. You definitely have to clarify because it could go either way.
That's fantastic. Well, speaking of amazing places to go and have a lot of fun, our guest this week is Paul O Reilly. If you're a regular listener, you listened to an interview 5 or 6 weeks ago with JP McCann, who is one of the owners and operators of the Irish Poker Open. Paul O Reilly is his partner, who is a really interesting story. He actually used to be one of the owners of the Irish Poker Open. If you listen to the interview, you'll hear it, but he sold it, operated it for a while, got an opportunity to buy it back with JP. They've been running it and just doing such a great job with it for about 8 or 9 years now. So we had a fantastic interview with Paul. We're going to be queuing that up right now. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us at the time that we are broadcasting this, so that interview is pre-recorded. We're going to show it right now live in the broadcast, so please stick around and enjoy the interview. And we're going to give away all our usual prizes and announce our home game winners at the end of the show. So if you're live here in the YouTube chat, stick around, enjoy the interview, start typing the words food bank into the YouTube chat right now. And then we will, as soon as the interview is over, we'll have a little more talk about what's going on at Running Aces and the Home Game Club. We'll give away some prizes and we'll wrap up this week's interview. So without further ado, here we are with Paul O Reilly from the Irish Poker Open. Should be a good one. All right. with Paul O Reilly. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. Paul, you and I had the chance to meet at last year's Irish Poker Open, and we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to talk a lot about poker in Ireland. We're going to talk a lot about poker generally. We're going to talk about hospitality. But first, welcome to the RecPoker podcast. I'm so glad you could join us. And the first question right out of the gate is, if folks don't know who Paul O Reilly is, how would you describe in your own words your own role in the poker world today?
I am obviously, Jim, nice to be here. Thank you for the intro. I am one of the owners of the Irish Open which will be happening in a few months' time in Dublin. I'm probably the person you might not see as much as my partner JP. I tend to kind of hide and do things in the background and stuff like that, and kind of push JP out there. He likes to be front and center. But for the last 8 years anyway, since I joined up with JP, I've been working with JP on the Irish Open, and before that, I have a kind of a particularly long storied history with the Irish Open, but we're at this kind of 2025 point now, which is kind of just amazing to see where we've got to now, from where I've seen all these different stages that the event has gone through over the years.
Yeah, and we had the pleasure of talking to JP about a month ago, and we got sort of some of the history of the series and a little bit about sort of like what it's like for you guys in this role there. When I was over there in Dublin last year, you're both very present. You're both very personally invested in the way that the Irish Poker Open runs. And it was just a pleasure to meet you and him. And I could tell that, like I say, you both really had your heart in the right place with this kind of stuff. I'm curious, what was your poker beginning? Like, no one just wakes up one day and decides they're going to buy a poker tour.
No,
please.
It's a funny one, because when so my father would have a poker background. He would have played with a lot of the old school. Now I'm talking back in the late 70s, early 80s. He would have been playing the old 5-card draw games. So they would have been my first introduction, would have been the old 5-card draw games around Dublin, where they would have been. And you would have got, like, these were the days when it was like, I don't know, maybe before Euros, maybe £5 or £10 to enter, but you get hundreds of people in this room. I always remember them because I'd only be allowed buy-in once, maybe, or whatever my dad gave me. I always remember to be a woman sitting beside you, because it was even back then, it was for everybody. And I always remember, like, a particular thing. I was playing a game and there was this granny, and she was terrible. She just kept on taking £10 out of her purse. I never seen a woman just keep going at it. And I remember another guy sitting on the right side, just going, this fella has my number. Now, I was only young, but realistically, I didn't really get into poker until I came back from Australia. I was in a totally different. My background is not poker. I just kind of fell into it when I came back from Australia. And when I came back, then my father, in the interim, had decided to buy into a casino with a friend of his. And then within that time, a short space of a few years, he then had introduced himself to, well, he knew him, Liam Flood, a long time. Liam Flood had not been doing the Irish Open for a few years. And my dad had gone back to him and gone, I'd be interested in kind of reigniting this Irish Open, because I have a property premises casino here now that just might be right up the street for us to get that thing going. I just came back and asked for a job. That was really it. So my father has a long history with the Irish Open. My father would have played in the Irish Open back in the late 80s.
Wow.
He would have known all the original Irish Open players back in the early 80s. So and then Liam Flood was one of the original gents behind. Lovely man. Has left us a few years now. And then we went into partnership with Liam, and then we bought half the Irish Open off Liam Flood and went into business together in the early 2000s.
Mm. And And we've got we're joined here in the RECing Crew panel by Kim Kilroy, who's a longtime fan of the Irish Poker Open, Lorianne Persinger and Joe Coolis. Folks, jump in if you've got any questions, of course. Kim's actually the one that convinced me to come and try it out. She's put in the chat here, she's been going to the Irish Open since 2016 and finally met you last year. So saying you're behind the scenes is an understatement. I felt like you were much more present, and it's been great. Kim's been telling me for years, oh, you got to go try it. Her and Kim and Elizabeth and Stu, and they wore me down. I was like, there's no way I'm flying across an ocean to go play in a poker tournament. But they were like talking about how much fun it is, all the great atmosphere, that kind of stuff. So I did it. It's a bucket list item. I think everyone should. And once you do, you're gonna be hard pressed not to go back.
It's a real funny egg, Jim, because when I get that, Kim, and it's funny because in fairness, we really had a few drinks this year, myself and Kim and Elizabeth, a few others. We had a ball now. I tell you, we had some great nights out. We had great crack. And I remember, like, when we did this in the Merrion, so there was no TV at the time. So, like, we were the first people to actually run a televised poker tournament in Ireland, and it was to do with it was late night poker. And it was to do with the Hendon Mob, and it was really in its infancy. It was kind of on Channel 4. We tried to do it in this old Georgian building that we had a casino in town. And we had another casino, but it didn't suit. Then I had another casino, and it wouldn't have suited, but it would have suited here. And these are the days of, like, dial-ups for the internet, and you're trying to stream stuff on a dial-up, and you're plugging yellow plugs in the walls, and it was like it was a disaster zone. But we tried, and it worked to a degree. And then in about 2006, like, poker was in good flight, and we were like, so poker was now outgrown the Merrion. So at that stage, I sold the Irish Open to Paddy Power in 2006, and Whitley and Flood, in the contract I had placed that if I sold it to them, that I would run it for them for 10 years. 10 years. Now it just happens out the 10 years the way it panned out. And in fairness to Paddy Power, they took it to another level. They have a lot of they have a lot of budget behind it. They could brought it to juries. They were able to stream it. They were able to bring in proper TV crews. It moved around the hopscotch to City West. We moved back to City West to juries, and it was in around the kind of a $3,000 buy-in. 708 people was the max that the Burlington could hold because of the size of TV, and it was 700, and that was it, maxed out. It could do no more than 708. That's 8 in the feature table. And they were the days when Blonde Poker, Cake Poker, all of these, all the sites were looking to send people somewhere. So they used to be like, I remember, like, they were hawking the tickets for 7, 8, 9, 10 grand in the lobby because it was sold out. And if somebody was trying to say to me, he goes, "What do you think?" And I goes, "If I don't see it, I don't know about it. If I don't see it, it won't hurt it. I don't care what they're going for. I just want everybody to sit down." And we were only working in this kind of 10,000 chip stack hour-long clock, so it was a different type of game, and it was a freeze out. So it broke down pretty quick, and it was only on for 4 days. And TV was on new at the time. And then we got into like 2012, 2013. We're after being in 4 years of kind of the worldwide recession, so the whole place is in a bit of a mess. We're coming out of it. Now they're trying to find where is the sweet spot for this buy-in, because it's gone to $3,000, $4,000. It's $3,000 with 3 million, $4,000 with 4.5 million guaranteed. Now it's gone to $2,000 with 1 million. Now it's $3,000. I got like, you have to stop. Just stop. You can't keep jumping around here. And the more you jump around, the more people don't know what's going on. They don't know the guarantee. They don't know the buy-in. And anyway, in the heat of the hunt, they got to 2016, and I was given first. It was kind of in the contract as well. It was an unwritten handshake, really, that I'd be given first option to buy it. I'd been obviously talking with JP, was running the Norwegians. We were looking at, it was a kind of a perfect storm timing wise, because the logical choice was to go, well, I'm setting up in Dublin, and you're already setting up in Dublin, and you've got a bigger event. I've got this nice event. We just married the two of them. We just turned it into a big, huge thing. It worked from the start, even though, like, the first year, Jim, in 2016, when Kim and and Elizabeth, everybody started coming over, like, it was a $500,000 guarantee. we're on a €1,000 buy-in. People are kind of questioning the buy-in. You got lads going, well, the esteem of this and all, and I'm kind of going, well, you can esteem all you like, lads, but I have €500,000 of my money on the line here, so I need 500 people to rock up the door here and get the. Now we did 800 odd, and it kind of went from there. We were lucky from the start, and we've been looking to now. Like we had good sponsors from the start as well. You know, when we got going, like we had Party Poker for a good few years. That was a good match. Now in the last few years, we're because there's a legacy element with Paddy Power and Stars, and it's going well. It's going great, Jim. It's going great.
It sure is. So there's so many things I want to talk to you about, kind of like the business of this, and so I actually wasn't even aware that you had kind of owned it earlier as part of or you were a part owner with before the Paddy Power one came up.
Yeah.
And so that's really interesting. So you sold it to Paddy Power and stayed on as a manager, or to run it as you say, and then what's that experience like? Like, did you feel like, what were the circumstances that caused you to sell it at that point? And if you were interested in staying on as the director, why not just keep owning it? Like, what happened there?
There's a couple of elements to it. One, a company like Paddy Power comes along and offers your money, and sometimes you look at it and let's call a spade a spade. Sometimes you just don't, like, everything has a price. And there was the ability for conditions to be added that I would run it for a period of time, and then while I'm running it for that period of time, there's obviously an income to be derived from me running it.
Yep,
to a degree as well. And they needed, to a degree, a certain amount of guidance on how to run one of these things as well. Plus, then you always want to see something get better. And while you want to see it get better, you look at somebody like Paddy Power, and Paddy Power are willing to spend a lot of money on the event. They're willing to buy more tables. They're willing to send. They're willing to get people satelliting through. They're willing to spend on advertisement and PR and bringing celebrities in to do things like that. So you really need nowadays, and this was it was in its infancy in Ireland, something like a sponsor of an event, because it wasn't done. These were just done in casinos, poker events. And the Irish Open, Paddy Power explained what they were going to do, and it was well, Liam was staying on, so Liam was going in an ambassadorial role as well. So that was important that he went in as well. So he was like a kind of a consultant, stayed on. He was like a figurehead. I just ran the operations of the event and offered guidance and advice where I thought it was needed. But they were very good, in fairness. What happens then as well, though, Jim, somebody like Paddy Power and all these big corporations, there can be quite an amount of staff turnaround in these places, you know, and people just get a little bit, they just become a bit kind of lethargic. They move on, other people come into positions, then you're kind of re-educating people, and then sometimes, and then focus of a big company sometimes just changes, and they move into other realms, and then things start to go to the wayside. So it was great. It peaked, and then as it was kind of losing its shine, that's kind of when we decided to make them an offer for it.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you know, we spoke to JP about that renaissance that you guys brought almost 10 years ago now, and how it's just been growing and getting better and better every year since then. I want to follow up. This is something that you both have mentioned. This notion of, at some point, it's a freeze out. It's a fixed number of entrants, and people are selling their seats in the lobby for a profit. So am I understanding this correctly? So like it's a $3,000 buy-in, but people want to play in it. It's so much that they'll pay someone else more than that to take their seat. Is that right?
9-10 grand they were going for. They were going for 9 and 10 grand, outside.
That's insane. So but like, because they only get €3,000 of equity in the tournament, but it's like, so is it folks that just feel like they have such a big skill edge that they can pay $9,000 to play in a $3,000 tournament. Like that's crazy to me.
They were shy, Jim. They just came over to play. They didn't have a ticket. They thought they would buy in. I've no ticket. I'll pay $9,000. Like you have all this talk nowadays, and you have all these equity equations. That wasn't the case. People didn't know this. You know what I mean? You're getting into and the game has evolved so much where you're getting into your and the levels of stuff in your 3-bet and 4-bet and all of it. This wasn't happening back then. This was just gamble. And people were coming going. I remember like even Doyle Brunson was there and he was going, I wish I had found this thing earlier when I was talking to him. He goes, this is right up my street. It's complete carnage in here. It's like a complete and I've seen other pros turn around and go, I can't handle this. This is mad. There's no rules here. There's people doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And I was going in the book, and I was going, these lads are reading a different book. They've had 6 points.
Right.
It's a different book here, lads. So it wasn't kind of ABC. Now it's kind of got to a new level. Poker's got to a new level as well. But like, there's still like we shouldn't even be now realistically. When you look at a 1K event like this now, have the level of some of the players who are playing in this 1K event. Like there's some really, really, really good players playing here. Really successful players, really big scores. And some of them, like, I know a guy last year who came over. He's got probably 20 million plus in winnings. Came over to play and never ended up playing, just went to the crackdown for 7 days.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. Never got near the poker table.
I mean, it's that atmosphere that the events that you guys have there, the sort of like the Irish Poker Open community is a real draw, a real attraction. You guys do that probably better than anyone else that I've encountered in the poker world. Definitely. And in fact, Joe Coolis had a question here, sort of similar to that, and then I'll pick this up again on the other side. Joe.
Yeah. Hi, Paul. Nice to meet you. I find it very interesting when people like Kim or Jim talk about a poker tournament in a manner that suggests that it's more fun than other poker tournaments that they've been to. Because of a couple things. One, you walk into a poker tournament and you see the hype that comes about it, but it's basically poker tables, and everybody sitting around waiting for cards to come. And secondly, I'm a psychologist, and I've always found that alcohol, high emotionality, and stress in the presence of financial incentive are a bad mix for anything to be considered fun. And the third thing is that there's always kind of a outlaw belief to a lot of poker players. They're coming in to do a hustle. How do you make that fun in a way that so many people say, yeah, spend $500 to $600 and fly across the pond and spend 4 days in an expensive place to visit for a poker tournament? How do you do that? What's the magic? Where's the?
There's a number of different factors, and then there is there's like just an area of just kind of, it's just kind of like an anomaly, Jim. Like so, and you're right in theory. In theory, you should not put 1,000 people in a room sitting around playing poker, drinking pints. It shouldn't work. It shouldn't work. So I get the psychological element of it. I agree. It shouldn't work. It should be carnage. It should literally be like something out of the Wild West, out of a saloon. The thing about it is we've never had a fight at the Irish Open. Ever. There's never, ever fisticuffs at the Irish Open. Okay, it's as simple as that. If people know, and because it's grown and grown and grown and grown, you got these people always there all the time. People just, like if somebody is getting leery or out of hand, for example, people just turn around and go, no, why don't you just sit down and relax there? Like, well, it's only it's only a game. Okay? It's not the end of the world. Go and then somebody might just turn around and goes, come on, we go outside and have a pint. And you just go out and you'll have a pint or two, and then they go back and it'll all be forgotten about. So you're right, it shouldn't work. And you see these events around the world, and I've been all over the world, and I've seen poker events all over the world, and you go in and they're sterile. It is, you walk in the door, you register, you buy a bottle of water, you sit down, you nod at everybody puts on the headphones, nobody talks, and game over. Okay. We allow headphones and people do these things. Most people take the headphones off because there's a fella nudging you beside you, and he wants to know where you're from, and he wants to have a chat to you, and he's after seeing something you're wearing, and so there's a general interest in where all the people are, where people are from. So people want to meet Canadians, Brazilians, Americans, South Africans, all of these different people. People want to go, and there's a general thing in Ireland anyway where we're kind of a bit chatty, and especially if we have a few points, and we like meeting new people, and we like to a degree learning about new people, and we like to kind of get on with new people, and then we kind of start coursing, and we have a bit of crack, and then we have a bit of banter, and then we just kind of all just kind of fall into this kind of session, and it is what it is. And then you meet up the next day, and you go yourself, and next thing you're having another pint, or you're having a chat, and you end up meeting new friends and all, and there's a kind of a growing thing. So, and the funny thing about it is, a lot of people have tried to replicate what happens at the Irish Home. So they take it away, they try to open a crack den of some sort, and they try to do a bar, and they try to put on music, and they try to put on them things. Because you can put them all on, but if it looks staged, or it looks like you're trying too hard, it won't work. All we really need to do is make sure the music is good, make sure the bar has drink, make sure there's poker in the room, make sure all the staff are doing what the staff do, because the staff are very good. The staff know how to get on with the people. We encourage the staff to go and have a pint with the players some nights, okay? Because it's all one big. It's like we're all one big group, and so we're always in, so kind of just happens. It's a funny thing, and sometimes you can't. It just happens.
It sounds a lot like what you're creating is a home game in a tournament sphere, right? Because that's actually what I got into poker to do. Is I started in a charity tournament where all friends get together and we all throw a bunch of money for a charity in the middle, and it's just fun because people care, but they don't care that much about it. And it sounds like that's what you've almost created in this event in comparison to, instead of the money being the focus, it's like, well, come play our home game. We'll have a good time doing it. Is that a fair representation?
In fairness, there's a guy, a gentleman from Calgary, lovely guy, Raphael, and big man, lovely guy, and he calls it the world's biggest home game. So that's exactly what he calls it. It's the world's biggest home game. He goes and Brian, another fellow from Montreal, he goes, Paul, I go to Vegas every year. And I go to Vegas, and now I'm just gone. I don't even know if I'm going to go to Vegas anymore because there's just no fun in Vegas, not compared to this. He goes, I don't even drink, and I'm having fun in that crack then, and I'm going out. And in fairness, we're going out. Look, there's great things you can do in Dublin as well, and we try and bring people to the highest pub in Ireland, and we go on Guinness tours, and we go on whiskey tours, and we do all these kind of touristy things, and we can go horse racing and dog racing and all of these things, and there's a big rugby stadium down the road, etc. We do all of these things. And then we have music on, and we have music on during the day, we have music on the evening, we have music on the night. We've got beer pong games, shuffleboard games. We're playing all sorts of weird and wonderful games. Even this year, I'm only and a lot of people will like this. I'm talking about what are we going to do this year? We're in 80s mode. Okay, we need to be looking at an 80s karaoke night. We need to be looking at an 80s disco. We need to have a fancy dress 80s. We need to be doing all of these things. What about? And the great thing is with Poker Stars as well, for the fact is, and sponsors in the past partner, they can't do a lot of these things when they're kind of listed companies, etc. But it's great that they can look at us and kind of go, well, this isn't their event, that's their event. So we need to just embrace that it's their event and just run with what they're doing. Like it's so we can do kind of we kind of draw the line sometimes because we have to kind of we have a few points, we have a J, and then we come up with an idea, and then we kind of go, yeah, like it, and then we have a few more points, and then it goes, yeah, I think we kind of might be, we might have a legal issue there, but let's go back a few steps, and I think we're kind of not legally problematic there, and but most people just it's not all about drink, it's not all about poker. And it's in the middle of that, there's a kind of a camaraderie about it. Like Kim, you're going to meet new people there. You've met all these other new people. People are greeting you every year, I would imagine, and new people you're meeting all the time. And you just kind of meet new people again. And all of a sudden, like Jim, if you're back next year, people are going to remember you. You're going to meet a whole raft of new people again. And that's kind of what gets people coming back all the time, because they're constantly meeting new people. And suddenly you're sitting down, and realistically, should Kim Kilroy know all the people that she knows at an event? Probably not. Would she know all them people at another event? Possibly not. But people will make an effort to go, that's that Canadian girl I met her last year, Kim. I'm going to go over and say hello, or I'm going to talk to her.
Yeah, it's a special thing, and I think you mentioned it earlier. Like the field of players that comes to the Irish Poker Open is this really interesting mix of some of the best players in Europe, some of the best American players, and then just a lot of folks that maybe only come out to play poker once a year, and they circle the Irish Poker Open, and they're going to be in Dublin that week. They know they're going to have a great time. And so you really end up with quite a variety of skill levels at the tables, but also folks from a lot of different walks of life. And I think that's an element that you guys have captured really well, because it's not like a lot of other poker series where the attraction is simply the poker. So the people that are there are just like only very serious poker people. You've got this cross section of recreational players, folks that might not even consider themselves to be recreational poker players, that they know they're going to come and have a good time. And the energy there is very consistent with that, and I love that. Is there a way that
it's a people's tournament, Jimmy? See, this is the thing. It's a people's tournament. Okay, you win the main event, you could possibly win nearly €500,000 this year if you win the main event, and you could win the mini Irish Open with the billion guarantee, and you could win an awful lot of money. You could be winning like for a 200 buy-in, and if you got lucky and span it through with one ticket, you could win yourself a couple of $100,000. And there's like so many events. Like we got 36 events this year, and a lot of them are now 2-day events, kind of because we're trying to give people a bit of breathing space and a bit of downtime as well away from the tables. So, but it's still a people's event. There's a lot of money, like the €7.5 million in tournament payouts last year. Never mind the 50 cash games every night for the most part. And you're probably looking at 10 million plus this year. But are really people thinking about, okay, they're coming and they want to win the money? But like you look at the satellites online and the way you can like there was a guy came second a few years and he qualified for 10 cents.
Amazing.
10 seconds. 200,000. Span is 10 cents to a dollar to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 100, 100 to a ticket. Came second, couple of $100,000. And there is so it's targeted at like the amount of satellites that, for example, Stars and Paddy's iPoker Network are out there. They will send 700 plus players. Now, Poker Stars will turn around and say this, as Party Poker said it before. They've never seen so much drive to play in online satellites after they've seen for the Irish Open. Ever. Wow. In any event they've ever done. In any 1K event, they've never seen the demand for satellites like it. Ever. Party Poker used to say the same. He goes, Paul, I can load up a 50 seat guarantee. I can load up here on a Saturday and it'll be full by Sunday. And I'll do 50 seats. And I don't even have to think about it. So so they know where to go. They want to go. And that's the great thing about it though. And the satellites that are going there, because you can qualify for £100. You can win another seat. You have two shots at it. So you don't have to have €1,150 to play the Irish Open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it makes a big difference. So I've got some questions for you, kind of as sort of like business questions around for instance, so almost all my exposure to the Irish Poker Open has been through word of mouth. It's been through other poker players telling me how much fun it is. Now I'm not in Europe, so I might not, see the ads and stuff that you guys do, but how do you market a tour like this differently? How do you grow the pool of people that are interested in coming out when it's not a typical
a big thing, Jim, and it's a fair point you've made there, and it's a big thing, and Kim is your classic example. It's a classic example of how this works. Okay, 90% of the people plus who come to the Irish Open, as JP puts it always well, because are going to lose money. They're going to walk away from the event and they will have lost money. And when they're walking out the door at the end of the event and they're going to the airport or they're going to wherever they go, we want them to turn around and go, I'll be back next year. And I'm bringing 5 people.
Right.
And that has been happening for 8 years. So for 8 years, a handful of ladies came over from Canada, and now they're a third or fourth biggest traveling nation coming to the Irish Open, and probably again because there doesn't seem to be something going on at the time. And I was in Canada last year as well, and I was there in January last year, and I've seen tournaments in Canada, and I've seen the way, and I look at, and I was at one tournament, and I was going, these lads are missing a trick here. This is not how you treat. This is not how you treat players. What I'm looking at here is not how you treat players. I go, the registration is too high. There's no entertainment. There's nobody in the bar. Nobody gives a shit about these players. We listen to players. We listen to feedback. We're trying to improve. Even this year now, events gone from 1 day to 2 day. So that element of it, of people going away and having a good experience, Jim, and talking to their friends and talking to people they know and recommending it, that's a huge plus for us. You can do so much online. You can do so much with social. You can do so much with partners like PokerStars and Paddy Power, driving action, driving awareness, driving advertising, driving satellites. So it's a mix of all of those things. But I would say the number one thing is really just word of mouth for us is a huge thing. Really is.
Well, it's working, that's for sure. And I also want to talk to you about the staff. So I found that every person I spoke to there, whether it was dealers, floor staff, bartenders, security, custodians, like it was a very well-trained, high-level staff at every element of it. Now, I think, we talked to JP a little bit about this, and he's like, well, if we needed twice as many dealers, we probably wouldn't be able to maintain that level of quality for everyone there. But like, how do you manage to keep attracting such competent professional people to all these different elements of the tour?
The good part of it is, Jim, that we've had them for so long, and they keep coming back, and they want to come back. So you're only ever topping up. It's all what you're ever doing is topping up. Then you've got like key personnel. Like there's a lot of things that people see in there that they just don't know what's going on, and there's been little subtle changes, like even things like, and these are kind of elements that Reset and JP to be looking at in different ways, and how we have changed the efficiency of even now, like the technological changes that we've brought in over the last couple of years, even the cash test, how that works, and the fact that we're now we're literally automatically verifying IBANs to be able to process payments to people better. We're actually linking into banks to make sure that people are getting a fair exchange rate on their money. We're making sure that people can process foreign currency, and we're not kind of like you see in some places gouging people to try and make money on currencies. That we're actually going with what the rates are in them cases. The registration is seamless. And this is just technology, and then we come out from it. Then you bring in then you got new partners like Luxon coming in. Again, we're able to process. We're reducing queues, so we're making the journey. We're trying to get you through the system onto your table efficiently, and that comes from whether it's the TDs, the dealers waiting, the registration person, the security guy is letting you in, the cash desk who's processing you over there. So I've worked in pretty big companies in my time before I got into huge companies around, and you always find there's a complete lack of unity of direction. Okay, where they're all seeing kind of and they're not pulling in the same way. Where all of the people at the Irish Open have all got one focus. The focus is make the event work like clockwork. And if one part of it breaks down, it just doesn't work like that. There's nobody fighting with another part of it. Even the bloggers, the photographers, the streamers, the stream, everybody all knows what they're doing. The barman knows. The person who's cleaning the floor needs to know that if she doesn't clean that person's not going to do that. I don't want that. So everybody knows. Now and again, you get somebody like me and JP, for example, walking through a floor, and I don't miss a trick, Jim. And if I walk through that floor and I'm seeing all these things, I'm going to be hell and high water if I walk through there and I'm seeing things that I shouldn't be seeing. That being said, they're usually out of our hands because there's so many external vendors here when you're going into a situation like the RDS. And the RDS, big step to go in there. I'm sure like Kim and a lot of these other people are wondering how was this going to pan out, because they're used to City West and we've got a hotel pricing issue in the whole of Europe now at the moment. It's a quandary that the whole of Europe finds itself in. Like, will City West ever open? I doubt it. I doubt it, because that war is not going to stop. And you can't. And people kind of go, well, you should go back to City West. They go, look, we can't help the fact that the 750 families living up there who had to leave their home because their house was blown up. So have a little bit of humility you have to kind of try and get people to have as well, and realize that you're giving out, you're going into playing €1,000 event in a capital city. I think then people are living in a bedroom in a hotel, thousands of miles from their family. So you kind of, and look, for most part, 99.9% of the people are all great. There's always a problem. There's always somebody
Sure.
and then you chat to them and you kind of go, well, I hear you, I understand what you're saying, but let's kick on.
Well, I love that, and I think that's a perspective that is consistent throughout the entire organization. And JP's kind of spoke about that a little bit as well. You've set new attendance records every year for the last 8 years, I think, and it's obviously a very popular series. It's obviously, a lot of people would look at it and say, okay, well, that's a successful festival that these guys are putting on. My question to you is, honestly, how do you guys measure success for the Irish Poker Open?
Like, obviously, numbers are they're the key metric, and obviously the more numbers, the more success. And as you can see, this year we're adding 4 days because we believe we're at this we're just in this zone now at the moment that now is the time to do it, and we wouldn't have done it if we didn't think that we could still offer the same experience because we got new high rollers, we got new mixed games, and we're targeting a new amount of people to come to the event as well. And this is from people asking us these things as well. So obviously numbers are a metric, and numbers are great. And then you kind of get in the last 2 years, you have these kind of GPI award thing that we were in last year, and and I'm not really kind of into that type of thing, but it's nice to be, because you're in good company there when you're in you've got two categories, and one of them is the best event in the world, and you're there. Right. The main event of the World Series, the main event of the WPT, and I think it was the main event of the EPT, like the 3 biggest tournaments on planet Earth, and the Irish Open.
Yeah.
€1,000 buy-in game.
Yeah.
100 million in prize pool, 50 million in prize pool, 40 odd million in prize pool, and little old us over in Ireland, me, Kim, all us guys. And we're sitting over here playing a €1,000 tournament, and we're going, well, it's great. And then you got a standalone event, and you voted in there. Now, okay, the World Series is going to win, and WPT is going to win, and that's all well, because I don't know, but you're in good company. So they're kind of nice kind of things that kind of come with it, Jim. And but there's just a general, like, if you look at even last year when we were kind of talking about poker stars during the event, and they're kind of going, it's kind of weird, Paul, because you look at where you are here, you're looking at this room, like, and you're kind of trending, like, at the moment, and they have people who look at all of these things. Like, you're not just trending, like, poker-wide. You are trending worldwide on Twitter, and it's not even to do with in the poker community. Like, I've never seen €1,000 buy-in in the top 10 trending things on Twitter in my life. And we're spending millions on this stuff. SEOs and metrics and blogs and streams. We can't get anywhere near this. So it's the success really, like, it's the growing numbers, but the growing numbers are a result of people being happy. We want people to leave happy. That's a huge thing for us, Jim. And the fact that we try and say hello to as many people as we can. Okay, they're not just numbers walking in the door, buying into a tournament, paying registration to make us money. Because you can see, like where else have you seen a 100-foot long LED wall and a walkway into a tournament?
Right. Yes. Yeah. It was really, really impressive. A lot of that stuff just blew us away. Yeah, I bet.
So, but we don't mind that. We don't mind spending like all of this money on bands and music and DJs and prizes and all of this stuff, because it's a party, and people like the party and people like to see these things. So it's returning people is what we like to see. The likes of Kim and all the guys there, 8 years in a row.
Yeah. No, it's really,
that's the great thing. Like, you got lads coming back going, like fellas home in Scotland go, this is my Christmas. I come over here for it.
Yeah.
I goes, lads, big poker players, I said to you, I know a guy that's coming over this year, and he goes, well, I play all over England, I play all over Europe, and I'm coming over, and I'll probably play one tour. That's it. Yeah. So
well, it starts at the top with you guys, and it just like flows down. Like I say, it sounds like, and listen, let me be clear to our listeners. Paul and I have no business relationship. We're not sponsors or anything like that. He's not paying us to say nice things about it. It's just genuinely such a wonderful experience. It's great to be able to have you on the show and to kind of raise the profile amongst our listeners for what a great job you guys are doing.
Now, we are, Jim, in fairness, I might just add, we are lucky with our sponsors, for example, with PokerStars and Paddy Carr, for example, because like the stream they put on, for example, it's second to none. It's top of the boat stuff they're doing there. This we're not doing some kind of crappy RFID card. That's a serious setup that they're doing there, and they have embraced this because they're kind of going, like, we're just going to roll in with it because we don't really know why it's doing this and how it's doing that. And now the whole of PokerStars, they've all FOMO. Like, they don't even know why they want to come. There's people taking time off work to come to the Irish Open, and they're not even working. They just put over. So so they've been great, though. In fairness, they've been really good. They've embraced it because it's not their event. It's difficult for a company like that to understand that they just kind of, because it's their event, so they have to kind of go with what we want to be doing. But in fairness, they've embraced it, and they've brought a lot of great stuff to the event as well. In fairness to them, they really have, because it's not like anything else they do.
Yeah, and so that's actually a great tangent here. So I've got two more questions for you, Paul, and then we'll wrap this up. This one's from Kim. So do you get some say into which events are streamed, or like, do you have some control over some of that, like post-production stuff? Her question specifically is, will they stream the ladies event this year?
Okay, has somebody told you something? Are you in the know here or something, are you?
She looks very innocent from here. From here, she appears to be very innocent. That's all. So
I'll give you an example. I tell you, this could be a bit of this could be hot off the press type thing. This be so. There's no point in, so for example, to set up a stream, to set up a TV table, and like, you start on, so let's say you start streaming on a Friday. To get ready for that Friday, you start setting that on Monday. So you got rigging, cameras, set, all of these types of things have to be made. And TV works excruciatingly slow. I've never seen anything move so slow in my life, okay? Because you've got checks, sound checks, picture checks, all of these checks, constant check. And there's a massive integrity thing that comes with a stream, because in the back there, you can't stand beside him because you've got people checking cards, you've got to think. So there's a massive amount of security going on in the back there. And then the Irish Open Day one starts on the Friday. This year, the ladies event day one starts on the Thursday. This year, the ladies event will probably be a 2-day event, and the first thing that will go on to the stream on the Friday will be day 2 of the ladies event, is the plan.
Cool.
So
all right, Kim's happy.
It'll be the first event we've ever streamed that's not the main event.
I love to see that, Paul. Just like, I know Kim's excited too, but like the fact that of all those events that you could be streaming, that you're choosing the ladies for it, hats off to you, man, because some of these ladies events get kind of short shrift in a lot of the other series. They don't get the same kind of publicity that the mains or some of these other ones do. So good for you. Not only I mean, it's good for the game, but it's also just it's well due. So I appreciate that.
It's an uncanny, well-timed question, Kim. I only had another conversation about this at 4:00 today with somebody in PokerStars.
Oh, no kidding! Wow.
That is weird. Yeah. So it's but that is the plan. The ladies event will be the first ever event that we've done non-main event orientated, and then that's why the ladies event will now be a 2-day event.
There you go. I love it. Well, she is very plugged in. Kim Kilroy is very plugged in. It wouldn't surprise me if she had someone on the inside for your meeting with Poker.
Kim, you better make the goddamn table now. They're not putting on the thing. Now you're here. You
That's right.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's out of the bag now. So that is the plan. Because of all these additional new day twos, like you got your America's Cup, and then everybody was giving out, well, I want to play in the America's Cup. Okay, you can all play in the America's Cup. We're just going to call it the America's Cup. And that's a 2-day event. The Hendon Mob's a 2-day event. The ladies is a 2-day event. There's another few of them are going to be 2-day events now, and it gives people time to come back. Yes, but they are hot off. That's hot off the press, Kim. Ladies is the first stream on the day on the Friday.
You heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. We're breaking news on the RecPoker podcast. International poker headlines happening here in real time. All right, Paul, my last question for you. So I've traveled to a lot of poker events over the years. I've worked with some tours and casinos and that kind of stuff as part of their efforts to make the game more friendly for recreational players. And one thing really blew me away when I was over and I met you and I met JP. You guys kind of took RecPoker under your wing a little bit, and you were very supportive of us being there, putting up some posters, handing out some business cards to players, giving away some prizes to some of the entrants and that kind of stuff. And you even, you and I met for a coffee, and you took some of our information and set it up on this LED screen and all this other stuff. You really went above and beyond a partnership agreement as though we were actual business partners. But you didn't ask me for a goddamn thing, Paul. You just liked what we were doing, and you guys just embraced us and said, we're going to help you spread the word, and we're going to raise RecPoker's profile out here. And you didn't want anything in return. And that is not something that I've encountered at any other of the stops that I've made. So why? How, you went to some trouble. You gave up, a real estate that other sponsors could have used, or you could have used for other stuff. You really, what caused you to take this plucky little Canadian fella and put it together like that?
It's nice to be nice, Jim. You don't always, everything doesn't have to have a price. Sometimes you just see somebody, you talk to somebody, he's a nice guy. And in fairness, Kim was kind of involved, and there's a thing with Kim there as well, and there's a kind of, Canadians are very like Irish, whether you like it or not. It's true. Just one of these things. There's a natural thing. Look, I'm going back to Canada for 3.5 weeks on my holidays next year in June. I went there for 5 days last year. I'm now going for 3 weeks with my family.
Yeah, June's a good time. Year. Come in June. Good thing.
So in July, yeah. So it's just. You had a thing, Jim, and I was just trying to give you a dig out with it. And in fairness, the RecPoker thing and the way it is, and people are trying to, it's for recreational players, but they're trying to get better, and the way you get better, the better. But they talk amongst themselves. You enter forums, you play games, you do these things. You have, so it's a kind of it's a good thing that you do. You know what I mean? And it's just a good thing. So why not give you the dig out? I don't need to get money for. I mean, you can't get blood out of a stone either, Jim, as my mother.
That's also true.
Sometimes you know when the fella doesn't have any money, and you can know that very quickly, especially at the fourth pint. So I knew where I was after that.
That's fantastic. Great answer, man. Well, Paul, I will say you guys definitely left. You made an impression. You definitely left your mark on me, and not only me, but also Mrs. Bluffsterini. My wife had such a wonderful time out there, and a lot of that was because of the excellent experiences that she had with you and JP and the rest of your staff. And there's a non-trivial chance that she's going to come this spring and play in the ladies event. That'll be her first real poker tournament that she's played in, other than in our home games, in our own home games at home. So you guys really, and I want to just reinforce that to our listeners, Mrs. Bluffsterini, she loves poker, but she doesn't like casinos. She doesn't like the sort of overhyped competitive professional play. But she's this is the kind of event that she's going to want to come to and play in and be a part of. And it's really because of that energy, that atmosphere, and that kind of commitment to the hospitality of the experience that you guys bring. So just, full points, I guess is what I'm saying.
I do think, Jim, and it's coming, and I do think, because it's been a long time coming, and I'm looking forward to when I do see it. Present company, not because of present company. I do think it's coming. There will be a ladies, at least a final tableist. I would like to see a lady. They have to get through that field. Now, it's a numbers game. And if there is that many more men, but that many women, so it is harder for the women to get through there. But as I keep on saying, somebody was saying to me, and I was going, look, you're no illusion. I said, I hate playing against ladies. Because they see into my soul. I swear to God, they look into me. I go, that woman knows more than I'm thinking. It's like me. I come in and my wife says something to me, and I go, sure, I'm not. And she goes, she can practically tell me what's wrong. She can just sixth sense. And it will happen. And it'll be great when it does happen, because when you think about the Colette Doherty's have won her in the past, Irene Tier, some of these women who are like, there's been a real good Irish Open winners in the past, and so it's coming, and it's like it'll be great, because I don't particularly like playing again. Like some of them ladies I play against the cash games, I just sit down and go, no, you have all my money from last night. I'm not giving you any more money. I can give you no more money. So it's so I either laugh at people who be thinking like, it goes, oh, there's a lady at the thing, and it goes, actually she's all your chips, and she goes, yeah. I goes, do not underestimate these ladies. I goes, that's just you're in a whole nother field here of things. I go there, and I'm saying this years because there was a time years ago where I had to have a real think about whether, it's a good while ago now, whether I would have a ladies event. And I'll tell you why. It wasn't because I didn't want to have a ladies event. It was because I believed that the ladies were every bit as good as the men, and they shouldn't be put into an event on their own, because I thought it, to a degree, might look like that they weren't as good as the men. And I was kind of going, they're every bit as good as the men. Now, push comes to shove, it's a very good event. It's a great event. But that was my initial thoughts. And this is about 10 years ago. And that was my thoughts at the time. I watched my mother playing for years. I watched my granny playing for years. And I go, and that was my thing. Why should I have? Now, I know they did a World Series thing, and then men were dressing up as women and all of this nonsense kind of carry on.
That bullshit. Yeah.
Bullshit. Yeah. And they're just causing trouble. But yeah, anyway, back to the point of being, Kim, I will see you on Friday on the stream.
That's right.
Killing it.
Yeah. And isn't it going to be great, Kim and Mrs. Bluffsterini at the same final table? That's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that. All right. Well, Paul, this has been a real pleasure, man. So we're gonna close out the show here with Stake, Study, Stack, and closing the action. So Stake, Study, Stack. I'm going to give you 3 names. You have to choose one player that you would stake in a poker tournament or cash game, one who you would like to study with to make yourself better as a player, and one who you would like nothing more than to just steal all their chips and just stack them right at the table. All right. Your 3 names are 2022 Irish Poker Open winner Steve O'Dwyer, 2023 Irish poker winner David Doherty, and a little fella by the name of JP McCann. Stake, study, and stack. How are you going to do it?
Stake. Stack is JP is shit. Sorry,
I don't recommend him for stake then.
No, awful. Awful. Now, you can get shit, we lose it. And don't get me wrong, I was bad. So he's not stake. I'm definitely not studying. No, jeez, no. So we'll have to go with the last stack. Yeah, no, not no. Yeah, the worst of the 3 options, please, Jim, for JP. Stake, study.
Yeah, we don't make it easy, Paul. I mean, JP was easy, but now these ones are a little tougher.
You've got a guy in there with about $50 million worth of winnings, and then young Doherty is a real good upcoming player. I'd probably study with David, and I'll tell you why. he's in that realm of people with your Darras and your Dave Lappins and all of these guys. They're always bouncing ideas around each other. They're always talking. They're always chit-chatting. They're always kind of expanding their game, talking hands, doing stuff, talking stuff I don't even understand what they're talking about, you know. So I'd probably go with, and then I just like to stake the man for all the money because he only plays, but he's playing all these big events. Yeah, I'd study with David. I'd stack him. I'd stake Steve.
There you go. All right, good answer. Actually, I should ask you one more question before we close out. We're going long on this one. I can't help it. You're a great guest, Paul. What's one really annoying thing about working with JP McCann?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, try and restrict it to one.
One.
Like, yeah, just one. Just one of them, please. Yeah.
Jim, we're totally different kind of characters, really. You know what I mean? JP's a kind of a, you know, comes out with something and then forgets about it and then will remember it, where I'm kind of, but I'll hear what he's saying and I would be like when I hear one person saying something, I'll have broken the thing down into 15 parts already in my head and I'll have started to finish it and I've worked out all the steps to get something to the finish. He'll come up to the idea and he'll see a thing, he won't get in the middle of it. So I would say he's not as organized as me.
That's a good one.
He's not as organized as me. Now, I'm very organized. Oh, like JP lives in this thing.
Yeah.
WhatsApps and stuff. I live in computers. I hate this. He loves talking to people on the phone all day, where I like to just get stuff done. I get more done on this. And look, we're different. Look, the great thing is, Jim, of all the years we're working together, we still have an agreement that if we both don't agree on something, even though I'll agree, he doesn't agree. If we don't both come to an agreement on something, it won't happen. We both have.
That's a good way to do it.
So if we both don't agree, sometimes you have to just, okay, I didn't get any way on that. And sometimes he doesn't get his way. And then sometimes we'll meet in the middle and we'll make something happen. But in some cases, if we both don't agree, it usually doesn't happen.
I like that. That's a great philosophy. It's sort of like naming a child. It takes 2 yeses or 1 no. That's the only way to make it happen. Lorianne, I know we're going long here, but I want to hear, you had one question before we go.
Thanks, Jim. Hi, Paul. My simple question, maybe not so simple. If you had unlimited power in the poker world and you had the ability to change one thing, what would it be and why?
One thing. Slow play. And I'm going to say slow play. These people who are just looking at you and put their chips and they're talking about and he's crapping out him and all of this, and he's always going to fold. All this wasting my goddamn time. Get on with it. You know. But there's an element to that, and I'll tell you why. I sit now at the table, and when I go play poker, I like to sit down at the poker table and I like a beer. And I usually have had 3 beers before I even go to the poker table because I like to smoke and I like to talk. Okay, so I like to talk to people. And then I got the guy who's saying to me, what was your EV range there when you were doing that with the 4-bet? And I go, listen, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I don't understand this language. I go, here's what I understand. Raise, fold. Raise, fold, raise, fold, raise, fold, raise, fold. That's all you will hear from me is raise or fold. I don't know what you're talking about. I all books. And look, it's probably all important information that you have. And I'm not that good. I just want to go and have a few pints. And if I get knocked out, I don't care. So I just can't listen to all of this chitter chatter. And it's usually from a guy who's not going to call anyway. So yeah, like just enjoy the game. You know, it's like we're playing a €50, €100 buy-in. We're not playing for the World Series on the final table. It's only a bit of crack, like. So look, don't get me wrong. I'm worth 3 or 4 tickets at least. Right. I'm never with them. So it's but that'd be Look, just kind of loosen up and enjoy the game a bit. You know, it's only like at the end of the day, it's a game. It's a game. I know there's money, but it's a game.
True. Very true. Good question, Lorianne. And now we know Paul's biggest poker pet peeve too. So we'll save a couple seconds here in closing the action. That was a good one. All right, Paul. This is the lightning round, closing the action. So I'm going to fire a few questions at you here, mostly to do with poker. And what I'm looking for you to do is to respond with short, fast, honest answers. Just lightning. The first thing that comes to your mind has to be true. You can say pass. Let us start closing the action with Paul O Reilly. All right, first one's an easy one, Paul. What is your favorite poker hand?
10 jack of spades.
Good choice. Is poker a gamble or a skill game?
Skill.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Is Ace King a drawing hand?
Yes.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
What's one thing you're afraid of?
Developing a slice of my golf game.
Should vacations be lazy or busy?
Lazy.
Name one player that you respect.
Poker player.
Yeah, poker player. Doesn't have to be your hero, but just like one player, poker player that you respect.
Whoa. Can't pass.
Okay, pass. Hard to decide. Yellow light coming up. Slow down or speed up?
Speed up very quick.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
It's getting to the end of the tournament. You might not be in this situation very often, Paul, but near the end of the tournament, when it's getting down to the final table, often there's an opportunity to either continue playing or chop the pot. Are you a pro chop or no chop?
Oh, pro chop. I wouldn't be there anyway. Though. Pro chop, yeah.
Name one excellent musical artist? Not necessarily your favorite, but one really banging musical artist.
Prince.
Good one. What about an open face sandwich? Is an open face sandwich a sandwich?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
All right. What's one thing you cannot live without?
Golf.
Good answer. And who is your poker nemesis?
Anybody who sits across me. Anybody. Don't have an nemesis.
All right.
Anybody.
There we go. I love it. All right, we're doing some quick. That's the end of our closing the action speed round here. We're doing some quick math here. I've got you at, let's carry the 4, 651 points. Very, very excellent finish there, Paul. 651. That's you win the opportunity to buy me another pint of Guinness in April. Congratulations! Give this man his prize. That's wonderful.
Prize. That's a booby prize.
No, hey. You're the first person to ever actually win a prize at all, so I'd suck it up, Mister. You'd be happy to have it. This is like we're making a first ever on the podcast, giving away a fantastic prize.
You're the gift that keeps on giving, dude.
Well, Paul, I can't thank you enough for sharing this time with us today and for your heartfelt efforts to make the poker world a better place. I want you to know that it is noticed and appreciated. And we're all lucky to have you and JP and the rest of your fantastic crowd.
We look forward to hopefully seeing you all, Jim, Fairness, Kim, everybody. We really do. It's we're in full flow now, dude. We're in full flow. Everywhere we're literally full hands to the pump now at the moment. 10 weeks, go.
It's hard to believe. Yeah,
counting down the days and spreading the word.
Yeah, exactly. Paul, if last thing before we let you go. Do you have any like social media handles, or is there something that if folks want to find out more about Paul O Reilly, other than going to the Irish Poker Open website, which we'll link in the show notes, is there anything else you'd like them to check out?
Oh my goddamn Facebook is being hacked, Jim. That's why.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I have 23 notifications here in the world, and it's mother you've been hacked.
Okay.
No, Jim, because I'll tell you why. I use social media for business, friends, family, stuff like that. I'm very private. I don't even tag myself with regard to people. I go away with people. My brother would be going, tag them. I don't need. I go in here. I don't need anybody to know where. The only people I need to know who I am in the world with are the people I'm here with in this part of the world. So I'm just not into all of that.
Wise. I think you'll.
Don't get me wrong. I look at Twitter and I look at Trump and Musk and all of this nonsense that's coming down the road for America and everything that's going to come down the road here. And
Joe, I was like, I know.
The lunatics are running the asylum, as I like to I look at it. But it's so I like kind of seeing that. And, I see that you guys are going to be Americans now, and you're the 51st state or whatever.
Don't even start. Don't even fucking start with that with me right now. Good Lord.
That's a whole other conversation right there.
Yeah. The Indians are all getting £1 million each. They're all going to be living up there in their mansions while they mine their ore. So like it's kind of mad. Like, but look. So yeah, I'm not my life now for 4 months, Jim, is all Irish. Everything I've been now, a focus is on this event.
Good for you. Good for you.
I have a little life now for the next 10 weeks, as we all in the team do. It's just we're we're absorbed in it now. I've got a computer here, a laptop here, the thing here. Every day, we never stop now.
Well, keep it up, man. You're doing great work, and give everyone, our best wishes and our thanks for keeping it up. Paul O Reilly on the RecPoker podcast. Thanks again, Paul. Have a great night.
I see you all soon. Kim, good to see you. See you, folks.
There he is. I'm glad we finally got a chance to have Paul on the show. He's over there across the pond, so it's not always a convenient time to get him on. But we decided the best way to do it was just pre-record. And such a fun guy, such a great, his heart's in the right place. You can tell talking to him and JP McCann, what drives them to make the Irish Poker Open such a fantastic series. Always love talking to those guys. Always love talking to those guys. I've known them for less than a year, but I feel like they're bosom buddies already. What can I say? Any surprises for the gang here from the interview? One thing, if we'd had more time, I would have asked him. He talked about like having to put up the guarantee in some of those early years. And as the owner, it hadn't occurred to me, but I guess you're the one putting up that, $4 million guarantee or whatever it is. I'm sure you're going to make up, the bulk of that in entrance, but guarantee is kind of a powerful word. I mean, over there it is. I know it means a little less than that to some operators over here in the States, or at least it has over the last little while. Lorianne, you had this great segment off the top, LA and LV. I'm excited to be sharing some of your tips with our audience over the next little while. Do you want to just do like a little recap of the 4 places and where you can find them?
Well, certainly. What was I going to say? No. Just to recap. I mean, I guess I could have said no, but since we're here.
Don't leave me hanging like that. Let's do it. Yeah.
Since we're here to recap, the 4 I mentioned today are the Bellagio Conservatory and Botanical Gardens, which is absolutely free and pretty much based on the name, I don't think needs an explanation of where it's located. Center Strip at Bellagio. The second one was the Pinball Museum and Pinball Hall of Fame, which Chris and I both love. And that is located on the south end of the strip between Mandalay Bay and the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. In fact, it's on the northbound side of the strip, just north of the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. The third one is the Mob Museum, located in downtown Las Vegas. It's just north of the Grand Hotel is where it sits. And last but not least, Flyover Las Vegas. That is also located directly on the strip, right next to the Hard Rock Cafe and directly across from Park MGM. So once again, all these are very convenient, whether you're walking, driving, ride sharing, or taking public transportation.
There you go. And I remember when you'd said flying over Las Vegas. At first, I thought that was the zip line thing that they were doing over at Fremont Street when I was there with Rob and Roger back then. But that sounds even cooler.
I absolutely recommend it.
And there were some comments in the YouTube chat as well about other fun things you can do while the show was going on. I know when I was down there, my first time in Vegas, I went down with a couple of friends. And we rented a car and drove out to the Hoover Dam. I definitely recommend that. That's a great idea.
Definitely recommend that.
Getting out to Red.
You go to the bridge as well. What is it? The Pat Tillman and the O'Callahan Bridge. That's almost adjacent to it. That's even higher than the Hoover Dam. It's pretty impressive. And a little scary as someone who's afraid of heights. But like I said, it's very impressive.
I bet. And I think Chris Jones, you had also mentioned Mount Charleston. If I'm saying that
especially
right.
if you're there in the summer during the World Series and it's like 119 degrees, Mount Charleston's always like cooler. So if you have a little time away, you got a car, you can get up there, you can get a little bit of cooler air, which I appreciate because I don't like 120 degrees.
Nice. We're gonna close out the show pretty shortly here. If you're live in the YouTube chat, I just put the link to the Irish Poker Open webpage in there. You can find all sorts of great information. Their series this year starts on April 10th and runs until the 22nd. I believe it's got a ton of events, and it honestly is so much fun. I really encourage you, if you've got an excuse to get yourself over to Ireland, do it. That's the time to be there. We're going to give away a prize in our food bank raffle. We're going to announce some home game winners, but first, Rob Washam, you're in charge of our premium membership ROI competition every month. How did we do last month? Who were the big winners?
Well, in December, the number one was a RECing Crew member, Elvida 11.
Whoa, Joe Coolis on fire. Way to go, Joe. Good for him.
And number two was another RECing Crew member, our own Poker Geek MN.
There he is. No surprise there. See, I mean, John, he does run all the tournaments. So, like, for all we know, he's got a couple back trap doors in there. You know.
Well, not only do I run them, but sometimes I even send the results to Rob, so he doesn't even, know.
Yeah, I don't know. Trust me. He sends me text files that I can get the information from. So who knows the validity of those files to start with. Yeah.
Congratulations, John. This is a tough field. So way to go. You had the second highest ROI out of any RECing Crew member or premium member in the club. What about third place, Rob?
Well, we do have some premium members now. We have Oslo Borger.
Yeah, Tron.
And then we have Ben Marr.
Oh, how nice. Elizabeth Ben. I probably shouldn't be doxing all these people, huh?
Right. And then Mazo Dana.
Yep. I know who that is, but I won't, although they've just doxed themselves because that's their name. Hi, Dana. Congratulations.
And then another RECing Crew member, East Coast Bitters, making an appearance.
Oh, love to see it. Ben Enslow back in the RecPoker home games streets. Little Lucy is 6 months old, and Ben's got all the time in the world now. It sounds
right. And then we finish up with a couple of premium members, Kellis 196220, followed by Now You Said It, coming in fifth of the premium members.
And I'm actually not going to dox either of those people because I am a grown, mature, responsible person who has impulse control. But congratulations. Congratulations to all our fantastic winners. And Rob, who was the number one? Tron Vidar Stensby, I believe. Oslo Burger.
Oslo Burger.
Oslo Burger, you are the number one highest ranking ROI premium member in the month of December. So this is a fun thing we're doing in the home game club. All you have to do is you have to play at least 4 of our free Play Money home games, and that enters you into our ROI competition every month. And the number one ROI member, the player that had the highest ROI, you win the prize of getting to join us on the show at some time in the future and meeting the guest of your dreams, or at least as close to the guest of your dreams as we can get to agree to come on the RecPoker podcast. So congratulations. Send an email, please, Tron, to jim@rec.poker, because I'm the guy that books the guests, and we will get in touch and find a fun guest coming up for you to enjoy the interview with. That's nice. And Rob, we're also going to give away a prize tonight for our food bank raffle winner. But you have some details about our premium membership as well.
Yes, for our prize tonight, we'll be giving away a free month of the RecPoker Premium. If you're already a member, you can choose from one of our learning partners. And speaking of our learning partners, in our book study, we were going over post-flop leaks on the river last week. And one of our learning partner videos is from Solve for Why, called Navigating the River. And it fit right in with what we were discussing. Matt Hunt has a way of explaining things so that it really makes sense. So you should check out Solve for Why by going to rec.poker, resources, and learning partners. You can access their content for only $49.99 a month.
Awesome. Yeah, folks, go check it out. All the folks over there that Matt Berkey's got running the show at Solve for Why really know what they're doing. Matt Hunt's one of my favorite coaches on their site. He does some really, really excellent stuff. And if you're considering joining our premium membership, like I say, all you need to do is donate to your own local food bank, send us the receipt, get your first month for free, and you can be reviewing all this fantastic training material available through our Learning with Partners program for some of the best training sites in the world. So come and check that out. All right, last chance to type the words food bank into the YouTube chat, because John Somsky, he's coming up with not just the week's home game result winners, but it's a whole new year, and we've got some exciting news about 2024. Take it away, John.
Yeah, every year I do a game, the home game by the numbers. So for the most wins, Eric Anderson got 20 wins this last year.
Whoa!
Got 17 wins. And then Jeff S. and Kim Kilroy both tied for 15 wins each.
Nice.
For the most played, nobody played all 423 tournaments that we offered last year, but a few did come close. E. Anderson, 85, Eric Anderson registered for 414 tournaments.
Wow.
Roy C.A., David Westerveld, 409, and Isenma registered for 378.
That's like Magra levels of involvement here. That's fantastic from Eric and Dave to each have over 400 home games. Congratulations, guys! Wow, that's amazing. All right, keep it up.
And then we had two people for the most pins. We had two people who won 4 pins. Bone Crusher 14, Marcel Dusick got 4 pins. The No Limit Hold'em bronze, mixed player of the year silver, and the daily bronze. And theoretically, you could win up to 10 pins in a year, but no one's ever come close to that. And then Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld also got 4 pins, a No Limit Hold'em bronze, No Limit Hold'em player of the year silver, a daily bronze, and a daily TOC silver.
Man, some killers. We got some killers in the room here for sure.
And then for cashes, Mike B 172, Mike Bayer got 66 cashes, cashing 18% of the time.
Wow.
Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld got 66 cashes as well, but only cashing 16% of the time. And then Stewie 13, Stuart Carriage got 65 cashes, cashing 21% of the time.
Amazing.
Then I also keep track of ROI, and this is the people with the best ROI who played at least 100 tournaments. So you have to have played a large volume in order to have qualified for this. And Bone Crusher 14, Marcel Dusick, had a 62% ROI, followed by Convincely Eric Jin with 43%, and PetBet 33, Kim Kilroy with 39%.
So that's two Wrecking Crew members and Marcel, who is Canadian, by the way. I'll just point out that Marcel is Canadian and Kim is also Canadian. So I'm just saying the Canadians are doing very, very well here. Sorry, yes. John, you're saying.
Yes, they are all doing well. And stay tuned. If you play lots, you can get onto this list next year, and we're having even more tournaments in 2025 than we did in 2024. And now on for the weekly winners. On January 13th, the really Mad Guy won the daily TOC event for all of the winners who won an event in January. And Pokerloon 91 got their first nightly victory for the year. Squidge 2022, Kate Ibbenson got her first nightly victory for the year. Bruce K54, Bruce Kiefer, got his second nightly victory. Huskers SSM got his or her first nightly victory. John Lutzy got his first nightly victory for the year. Now then KB got his first nightly victory for the year. Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld won a daily mixed practice event for the first time this year. Rick the Good Dog got his second international victory this year. Rozzy Q, Roz Corto got her first international victory for the year. And none other than 5x5, Chris Jones won the LPP event. So, Chris, you can contact info@rec.poker for your free month at Learn Pro Poker.
That's right. Congratulations, Chris Jones. I know you've been just clamoring to get your paws on a free month at Learn Pro Poker. And like all our members that play in the free poker home game club that we have here, the entry is free, the chips are play money, but the prizes are real. So every Sunday, whoever wins that tournament gets a free month at Learn Pro Poker. Compliments of Ryan LaPlante and everyone over there. So thank you for them. All right. We are going to roll on it here in just a second. We're going to give away a fantastic prize to someone who typed the word food bank in the YouTube chat. Invisible producer Rob has been taking notes and writing everyone's names down. Let's see who the winner is going to be this month. Looks like John Doe. You know who you are. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's my buddy DJ. He goes by JD in the chat just to confuse me. But send that email, John Doe. You are already, I happen to know you're already a RecPoker Premium member, so you have unlocked a whole new tier of prizes available to you. Please send an email to info@rec.poker, and the one and only Rob Washam is going to get you all set up with everything you need to know. And I guess the last thing I'll say, because this has been a long show, we've been having a really fun time here, but we're going to roll on out, is that it is not too late to get your little butt up to Running Aces for Rec Poker Weekend at Running Aces. It's next weekend. It's going to be tournaments all day on Friday, January 31st and Saturday, February 1st. But on Thursday and Sunday, we're going to have some fun stuff going on as well. There's more details at rec.poker/events. And there's a special reduced rate for folks if you want to stay at the hotel for the weekend. We're going to have cash games. We're going to have tournaments. We're going to give away prizes. We're going to have drinks and food together. We're going to have a bunch of merch. We're going to support a local food bank. It's going to be a ton of fun. So if you're in the Twin Cities area, come on up for Rec Poker Weekend at Running Aces. All right, gang, let's wrap it up. I want to give a great thanks to Paul O Reilly for being a fantastic guest, Kim Kilroy, Rob Washam, Lorianne Persinger, Chris Jones, and John Somsky. Invisible producer Rob Gardner, couldn't do it without you. Would love to thank all of our YouTube chatters. Of course, our sponsor, the wonderful Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino, and all of you at home. We couldn't do it without you as well. So thanks for tuning in to the Rec Poker Podcast. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.